Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on whether you're watching us live or watching a recording, and also depending on your time zone. Today we are in two different time zones for this, which is already the 16th session of the second Global Stop Cyberbullying Telesummit. Today we are in two time zones, since I'm speaking to you from Portugal, and our guest is in Japan. So it's 8 in the morning here in Portugal, in the afternoon in Japan. So welcome. My name is Tito de Morais. I'm the co-author together with Sónia, Seixas, and Luís Fernandes of the book Cyberbullying Against Parents and Educators. Is published in Portugal in Portuguese. Luís Fernandes and Sónia Seixas have also published a book together before, a book on bullying, named Planned Bullying, How to Erase Bullying from School, also in Portuguese, and targeting mainly parents and educators and teachers and in schools in general. They've also written another book targeting youth and children called Say No to Bullying, Don't Let Them Hurt You. And that's when, after that book, we joined the three of us to write the book on cyberbullying. Since then, we've also written a chapter for a book published this one, calling Bullying Perspectives, Practice and Insights. Is a book by Janice Richardson, Elizabeth Milovidov, and Roger Blemeyer. This month, and Elizabeth was a guest on the first edition of this event. Well, we're here to talk about cyberbullying. Today, the idea is to have a perspective of the issue on Japan, how Japan is the situation, cyberbullying, and besides me, we'll have my co-host and co-author Sónia Seixas from Portugal. She's already on the line. Good morning, Sónia.
Good
Ravishing
morning,
as always.
So early in the morning.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm in Santarém, as usual.
Yes. Yep. Just to those who don't know, we are, as I said, both from broadcasting from Portugal. I'm in the northern part of Portugal, Porto, near Porto, the city of Porto, and Sónia is near Lisbon, 80 kilometers from Lisbon, a beautiful city called Santarém. And today we're calling, as I said, we're going to talk about cyberbullying in Japan. And for that purpose, we have invited a guest. He's Japan, and he's with us. This session will discuss trends on online crime in Japan and victories of Japanese women against online slanders and social injustice. Thus the title, Women Drive a Good Future in Japan, How Japan Stands Up Against the Online Slander and Hate. And to give us this perspective, we have with us Takaya Terakawa from Japan. Good morning, Takaya. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to have you, and thank you for accepting our invitation. Takaya is a privacy and data governance privacy and data governance consultant, online safety advocate for the Technica Zen, and also for the Cybersafety group. Actually, we are both connected to the Cybersafety group. We have a common friend who recommended Takaya, which is Perry Aftab. Perry will also be a guest next week, I believe. And so that's how we got to know each other. Takaya, I believe you have. I was going to forget. We are broadcasting to Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. We already have people with us having breakfast with us. I would presume. So feel free to let us know that you are there on that side of the screen, and let us know where are you watching us from. What is it? Portugal? Is it Japan or some other country? And we will also bring your comments and questions into the screen. So feel free to make them. Takaya, I believe you have a presentation to show us. Do you want to bring your presentation up?
Okay.
But before that, I can leave you with a question, which is, please do tell us a bit about you, who you are, who is Takaya Terakawa?
Okay, so you have already introduced me well. So my name is Takaya Terakawa. I'm from Japan, and I'm from Osaka area. So it's 2 hours from Tokyo, but the very good place to live in. So you have a nice food and the nice people and a lot of good good humor around, many talkative women. So yeah, this is a very nice place. So you should visit Osaka when you visit Japan. So anyway, so I'm doing data privacy consulting. Sure. Okay, go ahead.
You were saying that I interrupted you. Sorry, that you do data privacy consulting. Yep. Do tell us more about you.
Okay, so yeah, I am doing data privacy consulting, and I'm doing data governance consulting in Japan, and along with it, I'm promoting online safety in Japan, and so I'm usually talking with children or parents, and help them understand what is important attitude to the online safety. And at the same time, I'm trying to connect security professionals in Japan or privacy professionals in Japan, so that they can come into this, parenting or online safety things more and more. Since in Japan, this kind of activity is not so, often seen. So I want to, accelerate this movement in Japan.
Great. And how did you get involved with what you do today? How did that happen? How did you get involved with this subject of data privacy and security?
Okay, so my background was originally the risk assessment. So I was, working on the risk assessment for the machinery, and it's a little complicated area for companies. So I was supporting companies to comply with those areas. So when the GDPR was coming in 2017, so I noticed GDPR was related to the risk approach, risk-based approach. So that's why I studied about the GDPR and data privacy, and I found this is a really interesting area, and I noticed this is a area of trust, and this work is related to promoting the trust and the safe world. So I was very fascinated with this work, and since then I started concentrating on this topic. So regarding the online safety activities, I was rather new. So it was maybe 2 years ago. So after I did several consulting jobs of data privacy, I thought, oh, I have been working with organizations, but this should be understood by children or parents, because this is very important for individuals. It's not only for the organizations. It's also important for us. So that's why I wanted to do something. And at that time, I encountered Pari Aftab through LinkedIn, and I sent a message to her, and she said, then you can do her activity, cyber safety activity, and I joined this activity. It was really, really lucky for me to meet Pari.
Perry, yeah. Perry is a really good friend and a driver, and she really brings people together, and I love her for that. One thing that I noticed, because I saw one of the lives that you organized with her, is that you have children. I believe you have a daughter, small daughter. Yeah, how old is she?
So she's 10 years old, and I have 3 children actually. So one is 10 years old, and the other one is 6 years old, and the smallest one is 4 years old.
Okay, great. Those are usually also good motivators for us to get involved with cyber safety, aren't they? At least for me, they were when my kids were young. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Exactly. I believe you have a presentation. I'm going to bring it up and leave it with you. Just to say that we have with us Edith Uteti from, she's following us from Zimbabwe. She will also be a speaker in the event. Carla Soares is following us from Lisbon. She's attended already a few of them. And also Carla Salles is wishing us a good morning, and she's having a cup of coffee and sharing her coffee with us. Thank you, Carla.
Wow,
so
thank
go
you
ahead.
For joining me. Okay, so let me begin. So today, as Tito introduced before, I'm going to talk about a topic: how women are moving Japan to a brighter future. So before starting, since Japan is a little different from Western cultures or some other countries, so I would like to introduce about the Japanese situation. It might be a little surprising for you, but maybe it will help you understand my presentation more better. So let's start with this slide. So this slide shows the statistics about the recent online crimes, and as you know, internet is more familiar for children in Japan, and as a result, the cases criminals to access to children through SNS is increasing in number. Actually, in these 10 years, the number of victims for the SNS related criminal is doubled. So 10 years ago, it was around 1,000, but now it's around 2,000. So it's doubled. And along with the number increase,
by SNS, you mean social networking services, right?
Yes, exactly. So it's like Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. So those kind of things.
Yep.
Okay. And so along with the number is increasing, so another important characteristics is the cases, not the number of cases child pornography. So the child pornography cases is also doubled in last 10 years. And most of the victims are, of course, girls.
Mm-hmm.
And so since this is a teleconference, telesummit about the cyberbullying, I brought some statistics about cyberbullying as well. And unfortunately, since this is statistics from the Japanese police office, so the number is rather smaller. I think the actual number is more, but as an official number, there's a smaller number. But you can see the trend anyway. And the number of bullying in Japan is fortunately decreasing these days. So that means children are getting better. Children are getting behaving better. But the second circle, this circle shows me a very surprising fact. And so what this says is among the bullying, so it's cyberbullying. So among the cyberbullying, 85% was child pornography. So it was shocking for me. But when it comes to cyberbullying, it's not about neglection or slandering others. But in the case of bullying, it's child pornography. So we need to educate the children.
Can I ask you a question there? So that means this 85% child pornography is children sexting and sextortion and non-consensual porn and stuff like that?
Exactly. Yeah. So sexting is one of the big issues in Japan, since girls trust boys, and just because they are intimate, they send their nude photos, and after they broke up, some issue happens. So this is really sad cases. I think it's same in the world.
Yes.
But so I pointed out two trends about the pornography, and I think there's a reason for that. So here is another slide which is shocking, maybe shocking for you, but the eyes on women in Japan is not so good. So first, girls and women are impressed sexually in games and comics and at events. So I brought 3 examples. So one is the big picture. Here is from the game. So and another one is from the comic. You will be surprised if this comic is on the magazine for elementary school or junior high school students. So even the elementary schools are exposed to this kind of image. And the third one is the photo from an event, and this is not from casino. This is from Tokyo Motor Show in 2018. So even at the motor show, so ladies are dressing like this, so wearing only underwear, and on top of it, they just wear the transparent clothes. It's not a cloth actually. So this is how men in Japan look at girls, and essentially, girls in Japan are at risk for sexual extortion. And another fact is the gender
ask you a
equality.
question there?
Sure.
So that we understand better. Japan has two characteristics that youth in the West identify with. One is the manga cartoons and comics, and I'm not sure whether it's the same thing or not. Hentai. Can you explain that?
Hentai, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. So could you tell me about your question a little more in detail, because hentai is word used for abnormal people who are obsessed with sex, and
yeah. That's where my question goes, because we see in the West a lot of manga comics that are very sexualized, and that nowadays there is a trend for pornography using manga characters, which I believe is where the hentai comes into play. Is that right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so they are full of sexual manga comics, and until quite recently, everyone can purchase those comics or nude photo books at convenience stores anytime.
Okay. So you have no age restrictions on buying manga comics or anti-comics.
Yes, unfortunately, yeah. Legally, we are not allowed to purchase those things until 18 years old, but it's not working well.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
Go on.
Okay, so another point is the gender equality. Japan is lowest gender equality among G7 countries, and its rank is 121. So it's quite low. So the status in Japan is quite low.
This was really surprising to me when I saw the presentation that you sent us, and I immediately went to see where Portugal stands in the ranking, and surprisingly we are 35, and I recommend others who are watching us from other countries to go and check where your country stands in. This is a really was a eye-opening and surprising data.
Yeah, actually, this issue is repeatedly taken up by media, and every year people discussing about it, but the rank is not improved yet. Okay, so let me move on to several stories how Japanese women are standing against this situation. I want to move on to a little positive aspect of Japan. But starting this story, I have to start with a sad story of a 22-year-old female professional wrestler. So this story was quite shocking, and I heard this news was also, reported in other countries. But Hana Kimura, a professional wrestler who was one of the cast of the internationally popular Netflix reality show, which is called Terrace House. She was killed herself after receiving tons of slandering online. So she posted the photo beside. So here's a Japanese letter. She said goodbye here, but she says so she cannot stand with the slandering anymore, and she killed herself. And right after this third incident, so Japanese government moved. Actually, at that time, the minister of Japanese communication government was a woman who is called Sanae Takaichi, and she immediately published her comment saying that anonymously slandering others is sneaky and unforgivable as a person, and she took an action immediately. And the one reason so Hana Kimura had to kill herself was she could not protect herself, and she could not find who slandered online. And there's a law called Provider Liability Limitation Act, which protects platformer from being liable for what is posted on their platform. Maybe you have the same kind of law in Europe, and the United States also have the same law, which is called CDA Section 230. So yeah, this law has a big problem, and many people cannot fight against online slander or online hate or online insulting, defamation, and so we have some relief, but it needs to have a court cases, or you have to discuss with lawyers to get some progress, and which costs a lot of money and time, so which is impossible for ordinary people to make use of the law. So Sanae Takaichi pointed out that bad portion of the law, and suggested the government to simplify the procedure to identify individuals who made online slander and hate. So this was a big step, and actually they published the proposal several months ago, and it will be in effect in a couple of months. This is a big win. So here's another two ladies cases. There are also two famous ladies, and they had a presence on TV. So one is Nozomi Kawasaki, and the other is Fuka Haruna. So Nozomi Kawasaki also took a court case, and the successful to disclose the IP address of the poster, and eventually 2 women were arrested for slandering her for nothing. So, and in the case of Funa Haruka, so she also stood up and successfully disclosed the IP address of the those who slandered her online, and she tried to put it on the court case, and so before the case starts, the person who slandered her tried to settle the case, and promised her to pay 3 million Japanese yen, which is around 30,000 US dollar. And it's another win. But she didn't stop there. So she's trying to proceed to criminal accusation. And the reason I introduced these two ladies are they are appearing on TV and talking about their experience. So in the case of Funa Haruka, it took 2 years to settle the case, and she had a lot of trouble to achieve it. And they explained how difficult and how badly designed the law is on TV, and which moved the people in Japan, and more and more people started claiming about the legal process in Japan. And at the same time, seeing they are winning these cases, so more and more people are standing up and fighting against online slanders. So they are another big fighter in Japan.
Okay, go ahead. Can you let me know? I believe it was in Funa Haruka's case that the person that was slandering her was also a celebrity or a politician or a policeman. Is that the case, or am I confusing with a case in Korea?
Okay, so maybe you are confusing with the next case I'm trying to show you. So in the case of Funa Haruka, so it was only an individual that is a fan of her, but somehow the love to her was distorted in some way or other. So anyway, so let's move on to the next case. Yep. So she's Shiori Ito. She's the 100 most influential people of 2020 by Time, and she's a big name in Japan. And what happened to her was she was raped.
That's the case.
Yeah, this is the case. And she was raped by a well-known TV journalist who is close to the power of politics in Japan. And so she tried to, bring it to the court before the court as a criminal case, but suddenly, and without unknown reason, the process has been cancelled. But she's still, fighting against to, bring it to the civil court case, and she won it. And it was a big victory. You can tell that from the a testimonial by Chizuko Ueno. So it says Shiori Ito has forever changed the life for Japanese women with her brave accusation of sexual violence against the harasser. Though the accused man close to political power escaped criminal prosecution, Ito won a civil suit against him in December. So this was really encouraging. And this is another trigger for women and the other goodwill people in Japan stand up for social justice. So so I'm sorry. So what I told you today was not about the cyberbullying, but rather a cyber harassment. But so what I want you to make, explain here was, online environment has a full of risk, and you need to be careful about it. But at the same time, so once things happen, once some bad thing happen, it takes a lot of effort to make it normal again. So the default setting was not designed well, but thanks to those brave women. So the Japanese legal system is changing little by little. This is a very good thing, but I do not want to call those women as brave ladies. I think those cases introduced here were not a victory. It's rather a sad cry of women in Japan. So basically, I should say the fundamental human rights in for women in Japan is not good in situation, and they are still need to fight against it. So what I want to do is backing up them and encouraging them to return to normal situation, and allow them to be themselves in Japanese life. So so that's my presentation I prepared. So do you have any questions or comments?
Yes, for
I
sure.
just have.
Sure. Go ahead, Sónia. Go ahead.
Can I say something, Tito?
Absolutely.
When I was amazed with these cases, and it's incredible, and at the same time it's absurd when woman who wants to obtain justice, and in this last specific case in relation to a rape, they are still doubly
Yeah.
punished. They are punished by the event itself, and when they come public, they are exposed to
Yes, exactly.
public humiliation. So yes, I think they are so very
Yes,
courageous
exactly.
women.
And this was really, really, this requires a very strong will, and they needed a lot of backup. Actually, Shiori Ito once wrote at some places she could not go out because she was so, feared about the sight from other people. So she was very afraid of being insulted by unknown people. So it was really a difficult thing, I believe. I have never experienced such a thing, but I can imagine how difficult it should be.
Because they are fighting for their rights, and at the same time they are cyberstalking. So it's so injustice.
But I think this is the same for other women in the world. So when you stand up, so you will be raped double. So you will be insulted 2 times. Once in the actual case, and the second for the your in the course of your fighting. So it's a very sad thing. We need to fix it.
Yep. As I was saying, Carlos Salles says that most Portuguese teenagers and young adults I know are manga and anime fans. Is something that is very wide spread in Europe and in Portugal. That's a way that we have some festivals of Japanese culture in Portugal. My oldest son has been involved in one of them, and manga and anime is one of the ways that Japan is bringing their culture to Portuguese, and usually supported by the Japanese embassy and consulates also. We have drinking tea and things like that. And another also is festivals of now the name is escaping me, but where people dress up using fantasies, like they dress up
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
as anime and manga characters. Now the name is escaping me, but it will in a minute. So that's a way that we are getting in contact with Japanese culture. One of the questions is, you focus your presentation on the cases of women. And in Portugal, for instance, one of the trends that we're seeing, and we are constantly alerting parents for that, is this is not exclusive for women or girls. Boys are also being victimized online. Many times they think that they are talking with a girl, and when in fact somebody that is exploiting them, passing themselves as a woman, and making them expose themselves and for the webcams, and then they are recorded and subjected to sextortion. Do you have cases in Japan also in which boys and men are also being victims of sextortion?
Okay. Yeah. Of course, we have
Actually,
the.
Carla Salles is asking more or less the same question. What about men? Are there cases of men who suffer from cyberbullying?
Okay, so I'm not sure if it is cyberbullying or not, but when I was in high school, I also did some kind of trick like that. So sending a love letter to my friends in my class, and ask them to come to a park and waiting with my friends for him. But so yeah,
I
this
think
kind of
we all
trick
did
was
that.
yeah. So this kind of trick was sometimes escalated, but in the case of Japan, so it's a little different story. So it's like it happens with the matching appli. So when people use a matching appli to find a partner or friends online, so sometimes the counterpart is actually a
You
man,
mean
and the
applications like Tinder and stuff like that?
yes, it's like a dating
You,
appli.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And
dating app.
yeah, so the other person is actually a man, and so when they meet, so there are some men appearing, and suddenly so they are threatening them to take up some money. So same logic is used there. So they pretend to be a man, and they pretend to be nice to the other person, but actually they are trying to harassing them, or they are trying to threatening them.
Okay.
So same thing is happening.
Can I
Okay.
ask one thing more?
Sure.
It's related to the cases you presented. It is easy to request disclosure IP address of publications or posters in Japan.
It's really difficult. So we have a form, and we can make a request to the platformer, but usually platformers are reluctant to reply, address the request, and so they usually decline it. So if they decline it, so you have to go to a court with a lawyer. So that takes a
Not
lot of money,
Right.
yeah, and a lot of time, yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Here we can go to the police and present the the same happen. If you go directly to the platforms, they'll deny it. You'll need to have a court procedure signed by a judge. So you have to go to the police, present your case. Police will talk to a prosecutor to see whether they have the evidence that makes it worth.
I see. Yeah. So
And
yeah,
then they might
this is very
request
good.
the judge to either.
This is
That's
very
how
good. Yeah.
usually it works. One question, Takaya. How schools here? The fact that the internet is used in schools also brought it. It's good, but also brought its share of troubles. And many times schools are disturbed because children, students are using technology to harass, to abuse other colleagues, and schools find themselves they don't know, well, this happened on the internet, didn't happen in school premises, so it's got nothing to do with us. It's not our case. How are schools dealing with these kinds of situations in Japan?
Okay. So in the case of Japan, so we are still at the early stage of introducing internet. So most schools are using iPad or laptop to do a presentation, but the children are not allowed to touch it yet. Maybe in a couple of years, government said they're going to, distribute the devices to the schools. So maybe in a couple of years, same thing will happen. But for now, children are not allowed to touch devices, and so we rarely have online classes in Japan. So unfortunately, these kind of things are not happening.
Okay, and even in high schools, for
Yes,
example,
yeah.
children
Even
age
in high school,
15 to 18,
yeah, even in
you're
high
not allowed
school,
to
yeah.
use a laptop.
Yes, exactly. And so they only have their own smartphones. And so yeah. So speaking of smartphones,
Okay.
as you know, Japan has
Here.
Okay. So yeah, Japan has Nintendo. So Japan has a
Go ahead.
gaming. And recently in the game, online game, people can communicate each other, and which increased the number of crimes through the online game.
Okay. And how about university students? How are universities dealing with this sort of situations? Do these happen? Do these affect universities?
I don't think so. University also okay. Maybe so. You think Japan is a very sophisticated, high technology country, but actually, many things are manually done, and including the education. So we don't provide online classes a lot in university. Of course, there are several universities that do online classes, but it's still limited, and we don't hear about such kind of news a lot these days.
Okay. And also, how about teaching digital citizenship, preventing cyberbullying, preventing cybercrime? Is it part of the curriculum in schools?
Unfortunately not. So I had, they have a class once a year or so, So sometimes my daughters came back to home and they telling me, "Father, do you know you cannot tell your password to strangers?" Of course, I know, but yeah, but this is like that. So it's not so prevailing in Japan, but the people understand it is necessary. So people like me are starting having a private classes and the teaching children or teachers to understand the situations, and also police officers doing such kind of activities as well.
Okay. Carla Salles is also asking, in your presentation, you talk about Technica Zen, which is the company that you work for, you founded. Do you use Zen techniques to combat some of these practices?
Okay, so yeah, maybe when I tell about my pricing, they get excited. So I said, "Be calm down." So just kidding,
Okay.
but yeah, so
Sónia,
yeah. So my company name then it came from actually. So then practices and also with good work. Then means good work. So good things. So I want to do good things through my work. So that's why I named my company Technica Zen.
Okay. So that's something that I didn't know. Zen means good work. Okay, working well and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So you definitely use Zen techniques. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Sónia, I don't know if you have any questions for Takaya. He sent us a few questions that you'd
Yes.
like us to ask. So if you don't have any questions, we can get to those.
Yes, we were thinking about one thing about child. If does the Japanese data protection law provide special protection for children's data?
So unfortunately, Japan's data privacy law does not have a provision for children. So this is a big concern for me. But behind the scene, so behind the law, there did they did have a discussion about the child protection, and they it's not written in the law, but in the guideline they recommend organizations to take parental consent before obtaining children's data. So yeah, so it's not written
Okay.
on the law, but they are protected in Japan.
Okay. We are close to the hour, and we usually end our sessions announcing what's coming. But I would also like you to give us some personal insights or a recommendation, a tip, or some advice. Our audience is mostly parents and teachers, and also professionals that work in the child protection area. So I'm going to ask you to give us a few tips, but before, give us a minute or two to think about. And I'm going to talk about the guests that are coming next. And one of them is with us, Edith Utete from Zimbabwe, will be talking to us October 15th. So that's
Tomorrow.
tomorrow at lunchtime. Yeah, she'll be talking with us about the African experience as far as cyberbullying is concerned. Then also on the 15th, but at dinner time, 9:30, we have our colleague from Portugal, Paulo Costa, who has done a master's degree, a doctoral degree in the subject was bullying. He'll be talking about his experiences and his research. Then on Friday, we'll have breakfast again, with this time with Rosario del Rey from Spain, and she'll be talking about pursuing a guide for schools. Then in the evening, also on Friday, we'll have Ishamati from India, who's also she's a 17-year-old student from India, from Mumbai. She's also with Perry FTAP in the Cybersafety organization. Cyberbullying and game theory have things in common. Also curious to hear her. And these are the sessions for this week. We're planning for the following, and we'll announce them as they become available. We have with us also Abílio Carvalho saying, good morning after yesterday's session and today from traffic jam. This life will be delayed. Yesterday we had a guest, the audience, do some relaxation exercises. So that's what Billy was referring to, which was a first online relaxation exercise. Was interesting.
Wow.
Clara Freitas Sampaio. I think that for Abílio it was good, because if he was in a traffic jam, he was already relaxed from yesterday. Clara Freitas Sampaio says obrigada, which is thank you in Portuguese. Amazing. And let us know about your recommendations, Takaya, that you for us.
Okay, so my recommendation is, so to have a good relationship with your children, for the parents, and so let them give a space to, consult with you when something wrong happens. You need to have a good relationship to, ask them to talk about them. So that's one important, tip from me. And the another thing is, maybe more of Japanese style, and it's about, aspiration for your life. So, I think parents should encourage children to have an aspiration to their life. So please encourage them to, find out why they are living in this world, what they have to do in their lives. By doing so, they can concentrate on their own issues. So, if they are busy with their own issue, they don't have to, talk with bad actors online. So they just can do what they have to do. So it's another better way to encourage them to do what they have to do, in which is very important for their own life. So that's another tip from me. It's Japanese life, right?
No, we lost you for a minute, but we
Okay.
got. Sónia, don't know if you have any final comment?
No, I just want to thank you for your presence here and for sharing these cases you brought us, and the vision of the change that women are introducing in Japan. It was very interesting. So thank you so much.
Yes,
Yep.
thank you for having me.
Thank you for having accepted our invitation and for giving us your time and for such a insightful presentation. I think that it was really eye-opening because it's a culture that in a country that most people, at least I don't know much about. So it was really interesting. Thank you, Takaya. Wish you a good week. Everything good for you and for your family. Hopefully, before the session started, we were talking about COVID and how COVID is in Portugal and how it is in Japan. And I wish you all the best. Stay safe and have a great time. And thank you once again for having accepted our invitation.
Same here. Thank you very much, and have a good day, wonderful day today. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.